Hey buddy, watch this.
Hello, Regis Kilbin is the name, and Hearthstone is the game, and welcome to the Advice Arena, where I give you advice on how to play Arena. This time around, I will be choosing Mage for my Arena class. Pretty good class in general, and of course I do like to mix it up. I haven't played Mage in a while, so Mage it will be this time around. So let's go ahead and jump right into the draft, starting off, of course, with our first rare, and this is a relatively easy choice for me. Alarmobot's pretty bad. Nerubian Egg is okay, but often hard to activate in Arena just because of some inconsistencies in getting those activators. Mages could essentially ping it off, but then you've got a 6-mana 4/4, which isn't particularly good. Master Jouster, I actually like this card quite a bit because if it does land on the Taunt and Divine Shield, it can win you games outright. Even if it doesn't, it's still a solid body to the mid to late game. So has some value on multiple levels. Up next, I don't like Arcane Missiles that much. It's just hard to get value and hard to predict in a low value card at 1 mana, so it makes your deck a little weaker essentially. Duskboard dies way too easily to other mages in a variety of classes. I actually like Nerubian Prophet as a card. There are instances where it's bad when you top deck it in the late game because it's just a 6-mana 4/4. But in those instances, if you're out of cards anyway, that's really no difference than a 3-mana 4/4. So that's not necessarily a penalty. But sometimes you do mulligan into that into your opening hand, and suddenly you've got a 3-mana 4/4 on turn 3, a free 4/4 by turn 5 or 6. So it can be a pretty nifty card in that regard. Up next, don't love Undertaker. Again, just too weak and hard to predict. I actually like Aberrant Berserker quite a bit in Mage, because you can ping it yourself as needed, and as a 5/4/4, that's pretty good. Sometimes even as a 3/5 with a potential for a bigger threat, it's pretty nice. Cult Master's okay. I don't know that we're going to be sacrificing our own minions a lot, and we may have a lot of other card draw options with things like Arcane Intellect coming. So I don't want to rely on Cult Master. I'd rather choose the Aberrant Berserker. Okay, so up next, a couple good 2-drops here. I like Twisted Worgen okay. The Stealth gives you a lot of flexibility. Haunted Creeper is also very good, and just gets a lot of stats out onto the board early. It's basically a 3/4 for 2, which is awfully good. Spiteful Smith, solid card in general, less good in Mage because we don't have weapons. Would still be an okay choice, but we already have a couple late game drops. I'm going to take the Haunted Creeper just to make sure we do get some good 2-drops in here early on. Okay, up next, Ship's Cannon. Solid 2-drop. It's unlikely we get other pirates in Mage, but just as a 2-mana 2/3, sometimes that's what you need. Frostwolf Warlord, underrated card in Constructed, I think, but sometimes a little difficult to get off in Arena, but still pretty good. Dalaran Aspirant, solid body for 4 mana. Unfortunately, the spell damage aspect here with the Inspire, it's not only hard to get that to go off often, but also it's hard to benefit from it because you just don't know when you're going to need spell damage or how many spells you're going to have in the first place as Mage. I'm actually going to take the Frostwolf Warlord here. Again, much like Nerubian Prophet, there will be instances you top deck this with no minions and it's a 4/4, which isn't that exciting for 5 mana. But if that happens in the late game, it's not really any different than top decking a 3-mana 4/4. And sometimes this will hit as, you know, a 5-mana 7/7. And those instances can win you the game. Because often you'll have at least one other minion on board, and a 5-mana 5/5 really isn't that bad. So I like the potential that Frostwolf Warlord offers us. Here, Murloc Raider, actually a fine 1-drop, but certainly not the best, and we don't always need a lot of 1-drops. Frigid Snowbold, pretty bad 4-drop. Spell damage again is too inconsistent, and the stats here just don't line up well against other minions. We'll go ahead and take the Jungle Panther here. The stealth aspect can be good, and 4 damage is pretty solid on turn 3, so it can trade up a lot. Can sometimes give us guaranteed damage if we're trying to burn down an opponent. Flying Machine's pretty awful, just way too low of an attack to do much. Dread Corsair is overcosted in a non-weapon class like Mage, so we'll never get the discount, making it an inefficient minion. I already talked about Cold Master. I said I liked it okay, so it's the best card there. although certainly not perfect necessarily. Cogmaster can be okay. We've got like 7 mechs. So far we don't have any, so might be a little too inconsistent. Ironfur Grizzly is actually not a bad card. It's pretty boring and basic, but 3 mana 3/3 is fine, and Taunt is sometimes very good. Infested Tauren, I'm not so sure about this card just yet. I think it's okay in Arena, but doesn't necessarily trade very well. But I will say Taunt is good. It's kind of similar to Ironfur in that regard. And token minions, the leftover stuff, is good with cards like Frostwolf Warlord and even our Cult Master. So maybe we'll go ahead and lean towards the Infested Tauren over the Ironfur this time around. We're getting a few 4s here, but that should be alright. Spiteful Smith again. Burly Rockjaw Trog is a fine card. But as I just mentioned, we're already getting a few 4s. We're likely to find a couple good ones coming. We can still use a couple 3s. So Spider Tank is a great 3 mana minion, just super consistent stats and a lot of value for the cost. So we'll go ahead and pick up the Spider Tank here. All right. Cool. Epics. All right, this is going to be a tough one. Dark Spear, 5 mana, 3/6 isn't necessarily all that bad, and you can trade the stats with something that's already on the board, like a Haunted Creeper, and basically make that minion charge and pass on the sleep effect of Dark Speaker to the lower costed minion, so you can kind of give yourself a 3/6 charging minion, or at least activate those stats immediately if something's on the board. You could also pass this along to a card like Cult Master to help keep it alive and retain extra value from its effect. So that's got some cool potential. I don't hate that necessarily. Recombobulator is a fine 2 mana minion as far as stats are concerned. The Battlecry can do cool stuff too with like a Haunted Creeper token. It can make it a better minion than just a 1/1. It could also heal big stuff like a Frostwolf Warlord. So there's some potential there. Faceless Shambler, pretty neat card. You basically can copy the stats of anything and it will have Taunt. So this is the potential of like a 4 mana 4/4 Taunt on a Prophet, a 5/6 Taunt, 5/5 6/6 Taunt here. I kind of want to try the Faceless Shambler. I'm not sure it's any good. On an empty board, it's a 4 mana 1/1, which is just desperately miserable. So you have to make sure you're ahead in the game to make this one work. So maybe in that regard, it's not very good. I think I'll actually just go for the Dark Speaker here. I like the idea of this one. With stuff like the Jungle Panther, right, you could make it a stealth 3/6, and I don't know. There's just a couple different things we could do with it. Could make the Aberrant Berserker a little healthier to benefit its enrage effect. I mostly just want to experiment with Dark Speaker. I'm not sure that it's any good, but we'll see. Ogre Brute's fine. Mirror Entity's solid card, but Fireball is very, very, very good in Arena, so that's an instant, easy choice for me. Dread Corsair, again, bad. Wolf Rider's actually pretty solid. It's just kind of a Frostbolt in many ways. Can also hit the enemy's face. But we do need to start making sure we build out our 2-drops, and I think Puddle Stomper is a fine 2 mana card to have. We want to make sure we have enough 2-drops. Blackwing Tech can be good if you have 4 or 5 dragons. So far we have 0, and I don't anticipate getting any. Dragonhawk Rider. It's really just a 3 mana 3/3. It's very hard to get that win for your effect to matter. We do need at least, maybe 1 big minion. I think the meta's a little slow in Old God, so perhaps Eldritch Horror is our big mana cost minion, just because neither of these are all that exciting. Eldritch Horror is not that exciting on its own either, because it doesn't have taunt or anything that forces your opponent to deal with it. So if you play it into a board where they have 5 minions out there that are really little, it can take 5 turns to kill all those things, and it'll just fall super far behind. So it certainly has weaknesses in that regard, but it does help sometimes to have a big monster like that. Bloodsail's okay, despite, again, never getting its Battlecry to go off in Mage. Mirror Entity is solid as well, but Water Ellie is a fantastic card. It's one of my favorite Arena cards. We're getting a little heavy in 4-drops already, but Water Ellie's too good to pass up, I think, here. I'm going to go ahead... Ah, man, this is actually tough. We definitely don't need another 4 right now. We can maybe stand 1 or 2 more if something amazing shows up. Arcane Intellect, I like card draw. Just 1 good card draw card, but we already got the Cult Master, so I don't think I necessarily need the Arcane Intellect. Raging Worgen is a surprisingly good 3-drop in Mage, because you can ping it yourself, and either do tons of crazy damage or make it trade up into stuff while also doing a little extra damage. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Worgen here just to see some cool stuff happen. Spawn on Azoth is okay, but the stats make me nervous and it gives your opponent a little bit of control. Squirming Tentacle's also okay. It's a taunt with reasonable stats for a 3-drop. But I'm actually going to take the Jeweled Scarab here. It's just one extra way to generate some value. And Mages have quite a few good 3-mana cards, given all the secrets and everything. So Jeweled Scarab feels like the best choice here, even though it's not necessarily something we want to play on 2. Stone Skin Gargoyle's pretty bad, just no attack power. Spawn on Azoth again, I don't love, but 2-drops with a cool Death Rattle are pretty solid. So we'll grab the Huge Toad here. N'Zoth again, man, the game really wants us to take this card. Maiden of the Lake, I have trouble making this card work, you know, as a 5-mana, 2/6 Battle Cry, deal 1 damage. It's not even that exciting. 2 attacks, just pretty low for a 4-drop. I love Stranglethorn Tiger, though. It's almost guaranteed damage, which can be good in Mage with stuff like Fireball to help finish people off. And just a good solid body for its cost, too. Dark Iron Dwarf's a fine card, but we're a little heavy on 4s. Frost Nova's pretty weak. It's just hard to actually gain anything off the board presence advantage it gives you. Stalling opponents doesn't necessarily deal with anything, so it's hard to make that work well. Frostbolt, on the other hand, is great early game damage. It can lock down big stuff with the freeze. It can hit the enemy's face. It just does a lot of cool stuff. Huh. Okay. This is interesting. Another set of epics here, but these are some tough ones. Let's start with the left. Crowd favorite. 4-mana 4/4 is okay, right? It's not good. It's actually worse than vanilla, which would be a 4-mana 4/5, like a Chillwind Yeti. But the Battlecry does give this a lot of potential, but how many Battlecry cards do we even have, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 right now. So, I mean, there's a potential it becomes like a 5/5 after you play a Frostwolf Warlord to follow it up, or a Dark Speaker, but I don't know, it seems unlikely. It seems like it's just undercosted. Spellbender, pretty weak. There aren't that many spells in Arena, and certainly not that many impactful ones, so it's hardly ever going to be a positive mana gain. Like if they spend a 2-mana spell to burn through it, it's not going to be good for you. Scaled Nightmare, I don't know if this card's good, but it seems like it could be a pretty solid 6-drop. It becomes like a 4/8, then an 8/8 if they don't deal with it. So it's kind of a nightmare situation or scenario for people to deal with as they figure out ways to answer it. So we don't like having a way to buff it to accelerate the stats, but maybe just as a body that threatens the board and makes the opponents nervous, it's actually a pretty decent card. So let's go ahead and grab the Scaled Nightmare. We have 2 6-drops, but one of them is really not a 6-drop, so we'll see how it does. Okay, a few good cards here, actually. I like all 3 of these. Spellslinger is surprisingly good. In the late game, the Battlecry helps you because you can use your spell first if you play this on like turn 7 or something. But even on turn 3, it's just a good body for 3. And Mages typically benefit from spells a little bit more than their opponents and have better... Well, I guess it doesn't matter if they have better spells. It's totally random, so that's irrelevant. But they still have more ways to benefit from spells, so Spellslinger is a net positive on the Battlecry. Acolyte of Pain's good for Mages just because you can ping it yourself and guarantee some card draw in the late game. But it doesn't really contest the board on 3. We have a pretty sick curve so far. Like, we have enough good 2-drops almost. Not quite. We could use probably 2 more. But the Frostbolt helps. We have some solid 3s, some good 4s. I think Piloted Shredder is just too good of a card to pass up here. I think we just really love Piloted Shredder. Because we have a card draw with Cult Master, a little bit with Jeweled Scarab. Yeah, I hate to send back such a good minion. Piloted Shredder is just one of the best minions in the game, right? So why give it up? This is actually a tough choice. We don't like Stormwind Knight. It's just too low impact. The charge doesn't do much for the bad stats. Stranglethorn, I already mentioned, is amazing. I think Psychotron's solid as well, though, just because it is a good taunt with Divine Shield. As far as taunts go, we have a 4-mana taunt and a 6-mana potential taunt, and that's it. I think I just like the Stranglethorn, though. We do have a little bit of reach with Fireball and Frostbolt, so there may be hands where we have like 9 damage, and we could play a Stranglethorn to get us to 14 damage next turn guaranteed. We still could use one more 5-drop without too much late game. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Psychotron. If there was another good 2-drop, I might take it over the the Stranglethorn. I might take it over the 2-drop, but I might take the 2-drop over the Stranglethorn. Excuse me, I'll get it out. But there wasn't, so I like that card. We don't have any hard removal yet. We have like a Fireball, but Polymorphs are really good. And it's obviously a 4-mana card, which we have a lot of, but it's not really a 4-mana card. It's not a minion. It can be a late game card too. Dragonhawk's bad. We definitely don't need that 8-drop. Snow Chugger's an amazing 2-drop though, and we need some 2s. So Snow Chugger feels great there. We don't need 4s. Magi is average to below average in my mind. Tidehunter's surprisingly okay, but since it can be pinged off with 1 health, I'd rather take the huge Toad here. It's harder for people to deal with, and sometimes the Death Rattle can make big plays as well. This is a little tough. So now I gotta really start thinking about my curve. I have 1, 3, 4, 5 good 2-drops. Some other stuff to play on too, so I think we're good at the 2-mana slot, really. As far as 3s go, we have 3. We could really use another 3. 4s were solid. 5s, we're probably okay on 5. We got some late game stuff. Lance Carrier is really good if you have like 1-drops to combo with it, but we don't have anything. I don't know that we're going to be trading up all that much. I think Tentacle of N'Zoth is probably going to be my choice here because we can actually activate that Death Rattle ourselves, and it's kind of a baby AoE for 3 mana. It also does trade up into 2-mana cards, so it's even playable on turn 1. With a ping, it can kill 3 health stuff on turn 1. By itself, it can kill 2 health stuff that they play on turn 2. So I think Tentacle of N'Zoth's the choice. Silverhand Knight's kind of tempting, but I like the flexibility of this card. Here, Bluegill's fine, Frigid's bad, but Harvest Golem's a good 3, and we could use at least another 3, as you can see a hole there in our curve. So Harvest Golem's one of the better 3s in Arena, I think. Oh, man. These are actually some solid cards here. How many 4s do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cult Master's kind of a situational 4. The Polymorph Fireball don't necessarily count. Pilot of Shredder's so good, though. Especially with stuff like the Frostwolf Warlord. Kefaldir Raider's actually a good 7-drop, too. It just gets really scary for opponents. We could maybe use one more late game card. City Swamp Ooze is good, too, though. I actually like Swamp Ooze a lot, too. Against Hunter, Warrior, Paladin, even Shaman, it's pretty solid. And I would prefer to skew towards extra early game as opposed to extra late game, just to make sure we don't get off to a bad start. We don't have the Flame Strike or the Blizzard to recover nasty boards in this deck right now, so we kind of have to skew towards early game to make sure that we stay caught up and just have a consistent curve. I don't know that Swamp Ooze is going to give us as much value as either of these cards, but I'm actually going to take it anyway. I kind of wish I hadn't, because these are even better, and I could have grabbed a Kefaldir, and I don't think I can afford the Force Tank. Is the Brewmaster any good in this deck? Is there anything we could really benefit from replaying? Jeweled Scarab, technically the Swamp Ooze. We could replay a Warlord maybe for a heal and a replay of sorts, but that's really it. The Bomber, kind of scary with the Haunted Creeper. Maybe the Jungle Panther, but not much beyond that. For 2s, I have quite a few now. Still maybe could use a 3. These can serve as pseudo 3-drops. Force Tank is really slow. Good card, but really slow. I'm actually going to take the Mad Bomber here. Just like the damage that it does. Okay. Animated armor I don't really love. On 4, if you play this on 4, you just don't care about your hero damage at all. You don't care about your health, so the benefit here is not much. Even in the late game, we don't have like a ton of recovery options, so I don't think this is gonna like save a game and win us a game that we could otherwise not dig out of. And 4-4 for 4 is not exciting. Goblin Sapper has okay stats, and it can punish a slow start from your opponent, but very rarely in Arena do people have more than 6 cards in hand, so it's almost always just a 2-4. That said, a 2-4 for 3 is not the worst thing ever, right? It's okay. I kind of like Emperor Cobra here, just as a threat, right? We have some taunts that could theoretically protect it, and this could just force out or cause friction in our opponent's turns, like change what they're thinking about doing or make them burn a Frostbolt on a mediocre card. I don't necessarily think it's the best card in Arena or anything, but probably the best of this set, and has the most potential in this deck to actually make plays. Helped fill out the 3-mana slot a little too. Okay, so there you have it. This is our new Mage run. Here are the first set of cards from N'Zoth down to, I wish that was N'Zoth, it's Tentacle of N'Zoth, down to Water Ellie, and then Dark Speaker down to Eldritch Horror. So now the question is, what are we going to call this Mage deck? I don't know that anything is like defining about it. It's really pretty standard on curve type play. We do have the Scaled Nightmare, which is a pretty cool card, and a few different scary, infested, corrupted, different tentacle-y bad guys. So why don't we just go ahead and call it the Nightmare Mage, because I think this is the coolest card in the set. So this will be the Nightmare Mage Arena run, and we'll go ahead and jump right in and play a couple games and see how the Nightmare Mage fares in Arena. Hopefully that wait time is an excessive estimate. I can't kill dead air for a minute by myself. Hopefully Hearthstone will be a bro. I can't believe Arena would be that long of a wait time. It's not exceedingly late. I think this deck will do okay. I don't know. I wish we had a big Flame Strike, maybe a couple more removal spells. Because relying on minions all the time can be scary because you don't have a big reset button that deals with your opponent's board. But we weren't offered a single AoE spell. We do have the Tentacle of N'Zoth, but that's just a 3-mana deal 1, right? We'll keep the Swamp Ooze here. It's a good 2-drop against a weapon class. Definitely don't want the Eldritch. Nerubian Prophet I'm actually going to keep. This is a 3-mana card right now. So that we actually got a 2/3/4 that's pretty solid. And I will play the Ooze onto whether he has a weapon or not. If I don't get another 2-drop, that is. If I get another 2-drop, probably hold on to it. I don't think he's going to overload. He could have a Totem Golem, though, and that's pretty scary if I don't get ahead of it. So, if I coin this out, but I don't draw another 2, I'm in trouble, though. I can coin out the 3 on the Spider Tank, and then coin out the 3 on the Nerubian. I think that's better, so we'll just pass for now. If he plays like a Stormforged Axe, we'll definitely Swamp Ooze to kill it, and, whoa! Do I have to ping that now? Do I have to ping that, or can I just go for it here? That's Overload 2, so he has like no mana next turn. I think I don't need to ping it. I can take... He'll do 9 face damage here, right? But he's going to be really far behind on the board. And this doesn't trade into here very well. I don't think he has a 1-mana card. I think this minion contests both of those minions. I get the 4/4 out. I get the Shredder out. And I probably just win the game. Although I may have to ping this off this turn. No, we'll kill this one. And we'll just play the Prophet. I think we're okay. Took a lot of damage, but this may convince him he needs to start going face and we just win the board. Hopefully he can't make a trade into the profit with some other spell or weapon and has to go face and we make the free trade here. But we'll see. That was a crazy open. It's kind of nerve-wracking, wasn't it? Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. We don't have any heals, though. Oh my goodness, he hexed that. That's fine. We've got a lot of big stuff coming. The hits are going to keep coming, so I don't mind the hex on the 3-drop, which is really a 6-drop, but it's really a 3-drop. So he went 3 for 3 on the hex. See, this is a good turn perhaps to play the Cobra, because it's going to like deny a big minion from him, and we have the space to play it. Especially if you can play like a 9-drop now. So I might just ooze Cobra, for instance, to really shut out his board. I could also just Cobra Hero Power. Maybe that's better. I have some good 6-drops coming. Keeping the board empty is nice, and I don't have to trade my Shredder in that way. We can kill anything he plays, still have a good minion of our own, have some good follow-up plays. I think we're in a good spot. A lot of people would have pinged off that 3-1, by the way, but I think that's wrong, because we had a good minion that traded into both. We didn't have to ping. Like, 6 damage to the face sucks on turn 2, or turn 3, or whatever it was. But it's not like game-ending, right? It's unlikely he has 15 points of burst. And we're going to just control the board for so long that it really may not even matter. We have to trade this way, yeah. Well, not anymore. Hopefully he cannot activate that. Okay, cool. He cannot. I think this is a good time to play the Nightmare, actually. We'll just make these trades. It doesn't actually matter which way. Unfortunately, he keeps some spell power around, but this is going to get big really quick, I feel like. I don't think he has a hex for it. He already used this hex. I could have played this one just to guarantee that we had more stuff, but we can still kill anything with this guy. Like, we can just kill that. And we probably will. How big do you think this is going to get? I'm glad we got to play this in the first game of the Nightmare Mage. It's perfect. We'll just probably play the big drop here. I'm a little worried about stuff like Lightning Storm at this point because we do... Well, that's kind of annoying too, but it's alright. This could give us a Doomsayer and I'd be really, really sad. But, that actually does help quite a bit because I can kill his totem here. I'm going to go ahead and play the stealthy guy. And, I don't know. I'm just going to keep playing stuff. Thought about pinging, but even if he has a Lightning Storm at this point, like I'd probably still have 2 huge minions. And we have enough cards in hand that we're not that susceptible. We can reload the board. Sometimes you don't want to play into AoE too strong. Might actually have it. He's looking for spell power. This is going to be an 8-8. We've got 7 here. It's 15. 17. We have 21 damage. Really? I can go for lethal here, but I don't think it's worth. We can trade here. I'm going to send the rest to face. Put him on a clock. I could have gone for lethal with a bomber, but it's better to just play safe. I'll just play this guy. Ping face. Oh, we actually won. Nice. So I don't see how he ever gets out of this. The Nightmare is sick so far. Yeah, well played. That's 6 mana 8-8. I love it. That's going to be a 16-16 when the... I wish he wouldn't have conceded so we could have seen it, but... Cool, new quest. All right, good start. I think we made a tough decision, but certainly a decision that paid off. So we'll probably play one more before taking a break to resume in part 2 of the Nightmare Mage. I really wish we'd gotten one AoE card. Flame Strike, even a Blizzard, I think would make this deck a lot better. But we still have enough tools and pretty average, pretty high average card quality. So this, again, we're probably going to keep this. We've got a 2, 3, 4 right now. This card is really good. I feel like people are sleeping on this card, maybe even in Constructed. This is just a totally fine start. That's not great against Warlock, but might actually play it on 2 instead of the Creeper, depending on what he does. If he plays a 1-drop, almost certainly the Creeper's going to come out. Creeper's good against that, so we'll play the Creeper for sure. This dies to that in Immortal Coil or something for free, so... I like keeping this as a 3-drop. It's just so good. This is also viable against the Scarab. The Death Rattle can do work, but it's better if the Death Rattle's activating when there's a bunch of stuff on board. Alright, hopefully he can't kill this just yet. If this is around to attack into his 3-drop, that's going to be really good news. I guess if he kills it, he can't play a 3-drop, so either way, we're probably fine. Oh, Shadow Bolt. That's pretty good. At least it went 3 for 3. And we've got a nice curve. Do I play the Berserker or do I play the LE? The Berserker... The LE's slightly better against bigger stuff because it has more health and the freeze effect can really do work against big, scary stuff. So I think I'm going to play the Berserker first. If I had a good 3-drop... Or no, excuse me, that'll be next turn. I was thinking about going here and pinging to kill this thing. But I'd rather just play a curve for now. I need one of my 5s or 6s soon. I don't want to play a bunch of 2-drops on turn 5, you know. Shadow Bolt was a very good answer to that Prophet. Alright, so we've got some good trades here, actually. What's the 1-mana card? That's a little scary. Mortal Coil? Wouldn't even be good, I don't think. Worgen Infiltrator. So that Tentacle of N'Zoth would be pretty sick right now. That's a good card. We'll just go here to maximize the number of dudes. It's not the best trade ever or anything, but it's a good 5-drop. I can go one of these 2 ways. That's weird. Does he have BGH? That'd be funny. It doesn't really matter whichever way I trade. The other one can kill it next turn. But taking out the higher damage one might make it a little harder to kill the 7/7. Because now he only has 4 instead of 5 attack on board. Hellfire or something is pretty good for him. But it allows me initiative again on the board, so it's not that bad. He's got a lot of cards left. It makes me nervous. He also said thank you, which is scary. I don't know if that's just BM or... no, that's not good. So we may have to ping this actually just to kill this for free. Otherwise, this gets buffed. Or whatever he plays next turn gets buffed. But ping Water Ellie is a pretty sick play, so... I don't think we even feel bad about that. He probably has ways to kill this, but I don't know. How is that a mistake? I think he's just BMing. We should not let him get to us. Implosion's pretty good. Mad Bomber might be good against the Implosion too, though. We killed a 5-drop and ate a 4-mana spell with his with our 5-drop. I don't feel bad at all. I think we got sick amounts of value, frankly. Yeah, we'll probably Bomber, Stranglethorn, maybe ping Spider Tank, depending on how this hits. So far, so good. Not amazing. We'll go ahead and clear his board since we can. I don't feel too bad about sending 3 attack into 1 health minion. This is a pretty solid board. He may have trouble removing this. They don't have a lot of, like, there's no Flame Strike, right? There's Hellfire, which would leave us with a minion. Ooh, that's scary. Frostbolt's actually pretty good. I can stall that out. And I'll just Stranglethorn for the body. I can kill that next turn, you know, probably with like the Bomber and not a Ping. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I may run the Stranglethorn in. But I may just have lethal next turn too, right? I have 14, 15 damage showing. The Taunt's going to belay that a little, though. It's a pretty good turn, to be honest. We have a good one too, though. 6-8. Let me just play our hand out. I think I'm going to leave this alive. Because it can only kill one thing at once, right? Fireball would have gave us lethal. It's kind of sad we didn't just draw into that. Yeah, I'm just gonna play the hand. This is a little risky, right? But we'll see. Little risky. I don't normally like to go all in like this. But it puts us on a lethal draw, or a lethal on board next turn. And I don't think he has AoE removal. He probably would have already used it. So now he's got a really awkward trade with that Doom Guard. And likely we just have lethal. He's playing for the Doomsayer. That's a good sign. It's actually a good 2-drop for us because we need cards. So we just basically went all in here, right? He may have AoE though. He may have been clearing for AoE. That would not come down if he had AoE, I don't think. Yeah, well played. So we made the right decision. It was kind of a scary one. But the right decision nonetheless. We made it really awkward there by trading well so that his Doom Guard really couldn't do much. That's what I was talking about with the Eldritch Horror early in the video, right? That Doom Guard, Fearsome Doom Guard, was the Eldritch Horror. Basically, like, it couldn't deal with the 5 things we played at once, which is why cards like this are very risky in Arena. Now, obviously, I took one too. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. That's why I wasn't super excited about it, though, even though it's a huge minion. So that'll wrap it up for part 1 of my Nightmare Mage Arena. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time with part 2, game on.